What's going on, everyone? So Tillie met her demise, or what appears to be her demise. To be fair, we don't know if Tillie is actually dead. Are they able to save her, right? What does Ellis and Fatima do? Do they just kind of leave her there to die and just run away? Do they take the body and bury it somewhere? Or do they take her in the colony house? Because remember, Marielle, she was there. Do they try to see if Marielle can kind of save her and protect her, and maybe, Marielle is able to save her, right? What is going to happen? That's what I'm curious to see in the next episode. But going under the assumption that she dies, right? I can see Tillie being Fatima food, right? Tillie has been linked to Fatima from the beginning. And Fatima even said herself that the anger and these cravings, this hunger, is just getting worse and worse and bigger and bigger. And there's not like a bunch of just like fresh bodies everywhere that you could just go and pick at. Well, Tillie is. I could see something where Ellis and Fatima go to hide Tillie's body, and Fatima kind of just goes back a couple times and, has herself a little meal. Have a little dessert, like, hey, it's been a long day. Let me dive into some Tillie food, right? Like, I could see that, and kind of her continued growth into becoming this monster, continued growth into whatever trajectory they're going, right? Is it a baby? Is it not a baby? Like, what's the deal with Fatima? Is it possible that it is kind of that worm situation with Boyd, where, there's these worms inside of her? It's this invisible force that she just can't see, that's not coming up on the on the monitor, right? Like, but Fatima needs to eat, and she needs to feed, and those rotten vegetables are only going to last so long, and you can see her cravings and hunger are getting higher and higher, and I can see her trying to suppress the hunger and cravings as long as possible, before she starts picking off bodies to kind of feed that sensation. Where someone like Tillie, I do think she's somebody that can, now you got a body that you can, kind of feast on periodically, like she does with the veggies, right? The rotten vegetables. She has them kind of hidden, and she just keeps going back and indulging a little bit in her delicacy, right? Well, I could see that same thing happening with Tillie, where Tillie is kind of locked away. Maybe Ellis finds Fatima eating the body at some point, or maybe Ellis goes to check on the body and sees that it's been picked at and eaten, and questions Fatima. I talked about it before. Like, I'm really excited to see kind of the journey that Ellis is going to go down in this whole thing, because like, now he's going to have to start compromising his morals. How far is he willing to go for Fatima? How far is he willing to kind of let her does he start feeding her? Does he start picking people off for her and, luring them to her? I mean, we've seen that. That's not an uncommon horror trope, right? Like, there's a lot of directions in which they could go. But I do think that we're going to see more of Fatima feasting on somebody. And I thought it was going to be Nikki. I thought, like, maybe Nikki would be buried somewhere, and, she would kind of go and maybe dig up the body or something and start eating at it and have it stashed somewhere. But now I think it'll be Tillie, right? Because Tillie's not, more likely than not going to be buried where everyone else is, because no one's going to really know that she's dead, right? People are going to think like she just ventured off, like, and that's something else. Like, how do they explain that? How do they justify that? Now, Fatima and Ellis were coming back from the clinic, so they could kind of just play stupid and just kind of be like, well, hey, we were at the clinic. It wasn't Fatima because we were at the clinic and we made our way home, right? Like, we don't know where she went. We don't know what happened to her. I was with her the whole time, right? Like, Marielle, she was working on her here at the colony house, right? Like, and kind of use that as like your sort of alibi, right? And, people don't really mess with that. Also could, her disappearance, could that spark like a, did she get out type thing? That could be interesting. No, also, we know that she was also dying, so maybe she just didn't want to like die in the house. You kind of say maybe she just like a cat will kind of like, or an animal will kind of like go hide to die, like she do something like that. But I'm excited to see how this plays out and what Ellis and Fatima do next, right? Because obviously, again, Fatima's kind of continuing to speed up this metamorphosis, and she's becoming this monster. Or, again, maybe it is a baby inside of her that we just can't see, that's changing her and transforming her. I don't know, because they do keep talking about that, bringing that up. So, it's at least something that has to be on the table, in my opinion. But Fatima, the vegetables are only going to last so long. Not only are the rotten vegetables only going to last so long, but she said her hunger is getting worse. Her cravings are getting more. And I don't, how long can she keep fighting off that hunger? And I don't see Fatima wanting to just start picking people off. So I could see her kind of, even to Ellis, kind of justifying it. Like, well, she's already dead. Like, I have to do this. I can't stop this. So does Ellis kind of know and allow it? Right? That's something else. Like, is Ellis kind of like, kind of turned off by it and just like, kind of scared of her? But he's like, if it keeps her from killing anybody else, right? We already got this far, right? We already hid the body, and, now I'm an accomplice, right? So, like, what else? Like, I might as well just kind of let her do what she needs to do. Or does he kind of try to stop her? Does he try to fight her? Does he end up meeting his end at some point, right? There's just a lot of potential and possibilities with this, if we're being honest, right? But I can see Fatima, again, trying to justify this to herself, right? Because she's going through this transformation, and she knows that, like she even said, if it's not a baby, then it's me. Does she kind of come to that realization and just kind of use the Tillie as like the justification? Like, okay. But also, Tillie, she's just been linked to Fatima for so long. And I feel like there's more of a purpose to Tillie than, there's more that meets the eye, that I think we're going to continue to unpack and unravel here. I don't think it's going to be, I think that, because again, they purposely place Tillie in spots to make it apparent that her and Fatima, every time something happened, boom, there's Tillie, right? Tillie just, I don't think it was a coincidence. Obviously, you could argue it's just standard red herring, that's what that was. It was just the build up to this, and that's all it is she just ends up dying, and that's that, and that's kind of Fatima's continuation. But I don't think that they're going to do something where it's like, okay, well, we saw her eating Nikki, and then she's just going to stop, right? But like if she digs up one of the bodies at the little makeshift cemetery, well, then that causes some red flags. It starts inciting some stuff, right? And people are going to question Fatima, because that would be my first thought. It's like, okay, the monsters have never done this. No one has ever done this. Fatima's going through some changes. She's getting this like hunger and stuff. Like, hey, did you do this? And it's just that people are going to start looking for the body. Right? Now, obviously people might start looking for Tillie, but, do they venture off to a certain point? How far are they willing to go for that? Where I just think, if you go the cemetery route, like where you just start digging up cadavers, right? Like, I just think that's going to raise more questions and concerns, right? And put more kind of spotlight on Fatima. But if no one knows Tillie died or where she is or what, how many people does anyone even really notice she's kind of just like to herself all the time, knitting and stuff? Do like people just kind of like, eventually, obviously, but I'm saying, like, does it take some time to where she can buy a little bit of time, right? Like, I just think that makes a lot of sense, that Tillie would kind of be Fatima's next meal, that the Fatima food would be Tillie, so that way, Fatima can kind of calm the hunger without raising any red flags, because the only person that would know is Ellis. But also, would Ellis even want to go back? Would Ellis even want to go check on Tillie? Right? The only way I see him wanting to do that is if he has questions of like, did Fatima do something that she shouldn't have done type thing, and he just kind of goes and double checks. Like, I could see something like that, but I don't know. I do think that it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, but I just think that seems like the direction we're heading, where Tillie's purpose was to kind of feed Fatima help her kind of get over the edge, get over the top. And it would kind of make sense with like the red herrings of like her constantly being linked to that. Like ultimately she became the food, she became the meal. So anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you think, like, yeah, Tillie's definitely going to end up being a full course meal for Fatima? Like, that's what the deal is going to be here? Do you think, like, nah, like, I don't think that they'll go that extreme. I don't think they'll go that far. Do you think, like, they'll they're going to cure Fatima? Do you think, no, she goes full-fledged dark side? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos. Truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.